Hello to you friend, welcome to my channel, and if you are new, please subscribe to access my later uploads. So before we get started, let us have a word of prayer. Our kind and everlasting Master in heaven, come unto this time. Thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for everything you've done for us, and we also supplicate our life unto you, glorifying you, and also we submit ourselves and everything we own or we manage unto you, because you are a good shepherd, and through you everything is possible and everything is manageable. I pray that you bless my viewer as we are going to start our study today. May you send the Holy Spirit to guide us, so that in this sermon may be blessing and enlighten my listener and viewer. I place this short prayer believing and trusting in Jesus' name. Amen. Today, friend, we'll be handling on the topic of the truth about the Christmas. So many people, and as we are being brought up, I've always thought that the Christmas day is a godly way of life, or as a celebration that is based on God. But however, the truth of the matter is Christmas is never a Christian based event, because this is a worldly encrypted celebration, but it has been hidden behind Christian values, claiming that it is a Christian day. But however, all that is going on is not of Christian or godly cherishing events. So first of all, let us dig out to find out what really is celebrated on this day, December 25th. So in the winter season around December 25, the people always celebrated winter solstice, that is between December 21st and January 6th. That is, the people of the north celebrated these occasions based on the winter solstice. That is, during the winter season, they could all celebrations based on the winter solstice. They could all such celebrations. During this time, people in these places like Canada, Norway, or such areas in the north, there was a period when there was actually 24 hours of darkness, in that there was no sun or light during the winter season. You can imagine, there is no light, there is no sun, and basically sun, even if it does not rise up each and every day, and if it does not really rise up for a very long time, and there is no even a source of light, people's life will be highly be affected, in that we all depend on the sun for essential nutrient that it provides for us, i.e. vitamin D, that is the essential in everybody's or any creature's bodily homeostasis. However, these people, some people or some areas tend to receive a little no sunlight, but there are some but however there is some piece of light that is encountered, i.e. the sky may be bright and provide also light, but these people were absolutely in total darkness. You can imagine. So upon this darkness, there was the time when the sun could appear. Now you can imagine, after a long period of time without sun, and then the sun appears now. You can imagine, during this time when the sun has not been around, many people could die from diseases like cold, or even lack of vitamin D. They could die, even the likes of children. But now, after this long time of having no sun, the sun now comes or appears. The people now, you can imagine, the source that you told, or many people believe that is a source of life, has appeared. Now people could look at the sun as a life-giving force, and hence during this time people held different occasions to celebrate on this day. They could celebrate, they have seen the sun which they have not been seen, they have lost their loved one during this time, and hence when they see it, they could hold celebration to celebrate on the same. And the celebration they could hold included on this night of, they could hold the celebration of the Feast of the 12 Nights. That's one of the title of the celebration. So on that day they could hold the Feast of 12 Nights. That's between December 25th to January 6th. Between that time, depending on the time the sun appears. Secondly, in ancient Asia, they could hold a celebration called Bacchanalia, which was a ceremony to their god Bacchus, a god of the sun, or a god of wine, sport, and play. Number 3, in Roman, they could hold a celebration called Saturnalia. They called a celebration called Saturnalia to their god Saturn, the main sun god they worshipped. In all this celebration, as you can see, they could worship as a thanksgiving to the sun. In other words, most of them tend to kind of worship the sun. Basically, like the Romans, they really worship the sun, in that they had even a god called Saturn, god of the sun. Besides, in all this celebration, they could worship through setting up bonfires which represented light for those who worshipped nature. For those who worshipped nature, they believed that setting up light or bonfires, they could they thought that this is a main source of life, because they considered as a very important force that supported their life. In the note, they also recognize a given truth that still remains alive, or that is, still remained alive during this harsh condition of the winter, in that there was not light, but there is one tree that could stand these harsh conditions, and also this even survival conditions, for this tree it could always withstand these conditions, and hence they could consider it as a very as if it had some powers of life in it. This tree was called an evergreen tree or a fir tree. This is the tree that you always see during Christmas. This tree with many branches, many branches with little droplets of, I can say, leaves, but they are in form of they are not the actual leaves, because they are very tiny, but there are many. I think we have already seen this tree, because this is the tree that many people who worship this or who celebrate this celebration of the Christmas tend to put balloons. They tend to decorate it with many things, including putting a star in it as a celebration to the Christmas. This is the tree that these people of the who worship during these the celebrations after the sun has appeared could also put in their houses and light them up as a way of chasing away evils or giving as giving a sacrifice so that they may gain life. They could also make some mistletoes and put them in the top of their doorways, which was an amulet hoping that it protect them from the effects of the winter. You can see after passing through these harsh conditions and surviving, and now they have seen the sun and they are worshipping. They could put these amulets in form of mistletoes and put in their doorways, hoping that it will protect them from the next winter. And based on the artistic and many sculptural artistic things that have been done, we can see that these gods that those who worship idols, they tend to make sculptures out of let us say some minerals and put them and worship them. So these people basically, like Romans, they used to make some sculptures of their god Saturn, and you could have his face having some big beards, having some many beards. Besides, they could also make his hair to be kind of long and whitish. This is the same way that the people of the north also celebrated this day or celebrated their gods. So one of the main and vocal artists, or those who make sculptures, was called Sistine Chapel of Mackenjo, who drew his picture a long way. He drew the picture of this god of Saturn having a very long flowing beard, and he had a robe or a dress, I can say, or rather a coat, which was reddish in color. Mysteriously, this guy drew this god riding a flying snake, a snake with wings. This thing really caught some many people's attention, in that many people thought that this was a kind of satanic, in that snake are normally are considered to having no wings, but this artist called Sistine drew this god Saturn being clothed in a red robe with a very long flowing beard, riding on this flowing snake. Through this, the church, especially the Church of England, which was very vocal during those days, you remember even during colonization, it was England that colonized many countries, including countries like even USA. That's one of the colonial countries of the England. England in those days was a very vocal nation. Even its church had a great impact in the world. So the Church of England, based on this sculptural artistic drawing of Saturn being clothed in a red robe with a long beard, riding on a flying snake, they considered this thing as evil. So they they advise their believers to avoid being partakers in this day of that was called, or those celebrations that were held during December moments, including December 25. This Church of England, based on all the way, this Church of England had banned this celebration of December 25 all the way up to 1647. So up to 1647, the church did not celebrate this celebration of December 25th because the church had considered it as a evil. However, there came a superimposed name called Saint Nicholas. This was a name that was given based on a person who was coming from ancient writing of Beowulf, done in the Scandinavian region, known to be a demon of the north. So, the world and it is worldliness, so that the church has already advised its believers not to worship on this day, or not to partake in the celebration on December 25th. So the world sought a way to kind of make this thing, or this December 25 celebrations, look as if they are promoting Christian values. So they imposed a super name to this day called Saint Nicholas. This Saint Nicholas, if you go back to history, was coming from ancient writing of the Scandinavian, ancient writing of the Beowulf, done on the Scandinavian region, who during this past time there was a demon that was called Saint Nicholas in the Scandinavian region. So many writings had been written to warn or tell the people of this evil being that had been disturbing people in the Scandinavian region. One of the writings was called the Beowulf writings. So in German and northern parts of the world, people had the perception of fearing this, being attacked with this demon that they consider the demon of the north. So even the child, when a child could cry, his mother could tell him, "Keep quiet, or I call the Saint Nicholas to kill you." So they kind of imposed even to their children a sense of fear to this demon that they had been fearing in the parts of the north of the world, that is parts like Germany. So you can see now, that's basically, I wanted to show you the basics from where the celebration of December 25th came from. And point number 2, after seeing the origin of celebration of December 25, which are based in the winter solstice in many parts of the Celtic people of the north, and seeing even the origin of this, the gown they usually wear with a red globe or a red coat, with a man having a very long beard, where it came from. Now let us break it down. So basically what I'm trying to tell you, my friend, is that December 25th celebrations were basically based on worldliness. There is no way they were based in Christian values. So before December 25th got some little values of Christianity, they were totally worldliness, in that they were based on worshipping sun god after a long period of winter, in that people celebrated after seeing the sun, hence they could worship the sun or the ancient god. During these celebrations to the sun, they could paint or they could sculpture their gods having long beards. Besides, one of the main artists or a kind of vocal artist called Sistine drew kind of a very mysterious form of their god Saturn during one of their celebrations this December 25th. You know, many artists in the world tend to portray their work so that they may have they can have an impact on a given celebration, or also through their work they send a very important message to people on a very hidden meaning of a given celebration. So this guy drew this Saturn god riding on a flying snake, having been clothed in a red robe and a very long beard. So basically that was the origin of December 25th celebrations. However, during the early when the Church of England had banned the celebration of the world, and it's those people who are vocal, i.e. in Germany, they came up with something called Saint Nicholas, in that they paid tribute to this demon, but they imposed it as to be kind of a holy event, in that they could win the trust of the Christians. But in real sense, this Saint Nicholas was a demon who had done many evil in the people of the north. And if we go back to the Bible, during the part of Jesus, there were shepherds in the field. And normally, if it is cold outside, shepherds always take their sheep to their den, so that they may, or to their shelter, to hide them from the cold. Shepherds cannot be outside during winter, during which December 25th is, and shepherds tend to be outside. It can't be like that. So, meaning if the shepherds were outside and with their sheep, it means that it was a kind of a summer time, between something like April and May there, because that's when the climate is kind of summer, and it gives them warm, in that they can even shepherd their sheep during the night without any fear. But during the night, during winter, you can't, even people could eat themselves based on that thing that I've told you, winter. And even when the winter passed on, during the appearance of the sun, they could hold celebrations to glorify this day, because they had been missing the sun. You can see now basically what had happened. So, fellow brethren, please avoid celebrating this Christmas. Let us avoid being like the world. So in Christmas day, don't be invoked to this kind of worldliness, because basically you can see even for yourself during Christmas, many people tend to do evil things more than even cherishing God. You can't hear many people. Yes, some Christians tend to go to the church, worship there, and kind of celebrate that Jesus has been born. But if after that they go out and celebrate, some of them drink, some of them do many evil things, kill, they become drunk. So you can see basically that's not an event glorifying God, but in fact is glorifying worldliness, and indeed that is very dangerous for us as Christians to partake in it. So And besides, during this Christmas, you can see that it tends to provoke materialism, in that many people tend to even take loans so that they may make this celebration of December to be very decorative or very viable. They could take their children to their places where they have never been since the start of the year. Yes, you can have some time to take your family outside, but during this time it tends to promote materialism, even in that many people tend to spend more. And this is not God's way. God's way is not to spend some days more and be a beggars all the days, but rather use the little you have in a way with that you may not lack another day and have another day. So basically, friends, let us come out of this world and let us ask the Lord to help us. Yes, I know many people, we have been brought up with this perception that Christmas is the day that Christ was born. No, basically, we can ask the Lord to remove those perceptions for us so that we may glorify Him, not based on this world, but based on the biblical content. I thank God because He had seen this confusion will come one day. That's why it was written, even the time that Jesus was born, there were shepherds in the field, to give us a glimpse that even if the world will try to kind of deceive us, that this celebration all in a given time that are glorifying or celebrating the birth of Jesus, we may not be in a confusion, but rather through the Bible's guidance, we may know that the world is deceiving us and we may run from it. So I hope this sermon has blessed you, and if it has blessed you, please share with your friend, subscribe your note, and let's meet in the next video. So let us pray. Kind and everlasting Master of the heaven, we come unto you this time. Thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for giving us your word, which has always been our light. And since it is written that we are the light of the world, so we can't be invoked or taken by the darkness of the world, but through our light we may shine upon the world, so that the truth may be seen and the deception of the evil one be known and be avoided, so that they may glorify your name. I ask you to bless my viewer, bless him forevermore, and above all, save us into your everlasting kingdom. I pray this short prayer, believing and trusting in Jesus' name. Amen.